Elite Facts presents.
What would happen if the amount of oxygen on Earth doubled?
7.
Insects would be noticeably larger. Oh yeah, those creepy crawlies you're trying so hard to avoid? Yeah, if the oxygen in the Earth's atmosphere doubled, they would be much more difficult to avoid. If the oxygen supply doubled on Earth, animals in general would be noticeably larger than they are right now. Some scientists have noted that environments with increased oxygen levels create larger animals. So with that logic, if the entire world was to double up on oxygen, we would definitely see a drastic increase in the size of all animals. In the past, according to scientists, there was more oxygen than we have today. That's why there were large animals like the mammoth and dinosaurs. Animals of that size ceased to exist as oxygen levels dropped due to the increase in population as well as pollution. If oxygen was to double up in the Earth's atmosphere, this would lead to the Earth's animals reverting to a prehistoric phase. That's actually a horrifying thought when you really think about it.
6.
Bye-bye disease. Now, okay, with the first fact, you're probably thinking the idea of having double the amount of oxygen in this world would be detrimental to us, or at the very least, more creepy to us. I mean, we'd essentially be living in that crappy movie Eight-Legged Freaks. But one major positive to come out of such a phenomenon would be the fact that diseases would take a large hit. For example, one of the causes of cancer is when cells are not getting enough oxygen. Cases of cancer would go down. And thanks to the increase in respiration, the cells would have more energy to fight off various infections. The ability of our body's immune system to fight disease would also double, and we would get sick less often. In fact, getting sick would become a rarity among humans. This is due to neutrophils, which form a critical part of our immune system and uses oxygen to fight disease, would double their capacity, and this would result in fewer disease incidences for humanity.
5.
Effects on plant life. It's common knowledge that without oxygen, plants would cease to exist, which in turn means that we'd also cease to exist. But could you imagine the impact that double the amount of oxygen would have on plant life across the world? Well, as logic would have it, plants would thrive greatly off of the extra oxygen that would be available to them. In fact, this would be the most significant thing to happen to the world, if such an event was to happen, as combustion and respiration would speed up. However, despite thriving off the increase in oxygen available to them, some common processes such as photosynthesis would slow down drastically thanks to their dependence on carbon dioxide. So, as you can probably guess, they'd not do well under such conditions. This means that green plants are more than likely to go extinct. That doesn't mean that all plant life on Earth is doomed, as it would only mean that the Earth may revert back to the prehistoric plantation, with non-green plants taking over, such as mushrooms and mosses.
4.
Athletes would get a well-needed boost. Okay, now this one is a mirror one, but it's worth mentioning for those out there who've dreamed of running in the Olympics. If the amount of oxygen in the Earth's atmosphere was to double, your chances of running in the Olympics would be much greater. The reason for this is that for us, but more importantly athletes, we would see a vast improvement in our performances, as more oxygen means more energy. Records would fall due to this fact, and athletes would move faster and jump higher. Who's Usain Bolt? No way, the fastest man alive is Joey Jimson from down the block. Unfortunately though, double the oxygen while being an athletic individual would do more damage than it's worth, but we'll get into that a little bit later.
3.
Effects on the atmosphere. With increased oxygen, the air in the world's atmosphere would increase. Because of this, things like planes, gliders, parachutes, and even things as small as paper planes would be able to fly much higher than they would now, and would be able to stay high for longer periods of time. This, in turn, would enable planes, gliders, parachutes, and birds to fly higher and stay up for longer periods of time. On top of this, areas such as the high Himalayas or high Andes are no longer off limits to animals without special adaptations to increase their levels of hemoglobin. Hell, it would even allow us to travel higher up mountains that were once thought to be impossible thanks to the lack of oxygen.
2.
Here's yet another positive aspect for you all to take in. Apparently, oxygen can have a great effect on our minds as it helps us be more active and can improve our moods. Oxygen is responsible for alertness and concentration levels. This means that if oxygen were increased, we would be more alert and have concentration levels that are high as well. This would, as you can probably imagine, significantly improve the quality of life, and healthy things would be done at greater speeds. That being said, all these positives don't matter all that much thanks to the next fact on this video.
1.
Our expiration date is shorter. Yes, despite some of these amazing effects that double the oxygen dosage can have on this world and us, it's actually doing more damage than good to humans. We briefly touched on this earlier during the athlete section of the video. But despite all the positives double the oxygen can have on the human body, like lowering the risk of cancer drastically, making us more lively and alert, as well as improving our moods, it's actually damaging our organs. Organs would be overexerted and eventually break down, leading to death. Eventually, as generation after generation passes by, the human race would slowly but surely become extinct. Man, this video ended on a downer, huh? And that's our list. Did we leave any out that you know about? Let us know in the comments section below. Please remember to subscribe and tap the bell button so you'll be notified when we upload new videos. Thanks for watching.
Don't forget to like us and subscribe for more elite facts.